Greetings, Relay for Lifers from all over the state of Michigan. Hey, thanks for tuning into the conference. I hope that you're having a ton of fun. My name is Trisha Jackson, and I am a senior community manager in the state of Michigan. I oversee events in mid-Michigan and also up in northern Michigan in the Traverse City area. And so shout out to all of you who know me, and I love you and appreciate that you're attending this conference. So today, I have the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about something called the Trifecta of Satisfaction. For anyone out there that is in the psychological world, you may have heard this before. In the business world, you may have heard it as well, because it's something that has been studied for many, many moons. We'll call it decades. People have studied what it is to be satisfied and what motivates people. So when presented with this at a Relay Global conference back in November, it was a very eye-opening for me as a staff partner to make sure that I am consciously thinking about the trifecta of satisfaction and how it is that we perform well with volunteers like all of you, and how you can then translate that and perform well for the volunteers that you work with in your community as well. So the topic today is about the trifecta of satisfaction, but it's also the topic of what motivates and inspires volunteers. And then how does that translate into retention so that we can retain people who are already relaying with us and they don't taper off, which we have seen happen. Obviously, that's why we're here today talking about wishing that we had more people involved, but it also talks about recruitment. So it's sometimes tough to connect that, but the overall underlying fabric of the trifecta of satisfaction is making sure that your group, your community, your ELT, your team is feeling satisfied, because through that satisfaction, you're going to create energy, enthusiasm, and passion for what it is you're doing with Relay for Life. So without further ado, I am going to introduce you to the trifecta of satisfaction. The first component of that is mastery. So really exemplifying mastery in certain subject matters within Relay for Life, or even as a Relay for Life master yourself, a master fundraiser, a master leader. It's really exemplifying and showing off that mastery. The second component to that is autonomy. And autonomy talks to empowerment and feeling like you've accomplished something, or that you're capable and able to accomplish something. So we're going to talk a little bit about how autonomy works with retention and recruitment as well. And then the third component of that is connection or connectivity. And for relayers, we all know that the cancer connection is what brought us all together. What sometimes we lose sight of is how we portray that connection, how we keep it relevant, how we continue the conversation, and how we inspire other people to share their story as well. So sit back, enjoy. We're going to roll right into a slideshow presentation that'll talk about the trifecta of satisfaction. And then after that, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what we should be and could be doing for recruitment, especially now in these tough times, but also looking forward into the longevity of Relay for Life. Relay for Life is an old program, started in 1985, as most of you know, by just one man, and we've seen a steady decline in the past, realistically 5 to 10 years. So now's the time to really refocus our energy and figure out why that might be, where we might have taken a wrong detour or taken the wrong risk, and then how do we bring that back? Because we all have a passion for Relay for Life. It's why you tuned in today, and we have every opportunity in the world to make sure that we stay strong and that we recruit new members. So let's get right into the slideshow presentation. So you learned a little bit already about the trifecta of satisfaction and how it can correlate into the work that we do with the American Cancer Society and our volunteer roles. And again, this applies to anyone within Relay. It could be that you're the event lead, in which case a lot of these tools are going to be super important for you in your success and leadership. It could be that you're a team captain. Same kind of thing. You've got people that you're working with within your team. How many times, team captains, just be honest, how many times have you said, I wish my people would help me? or I wish that I could get them to do something. I hear it all the time, so I totally understand. But I also want you to now stop and think, how many times have you been somewhere, done something, or had a conversation where one of your teammates has said, is there anything I can do to help? And in the fleeting moment of you being so busy trying to do it all yourself, do you respond with, I think we're all set? So I bring that up because it happens all the time and I witness it all the time. Just remember that at the end of this, to feel satisfied, to feel like you belong to this team, to feel like you belong to this ELT, people naturally need to feel like they're needed. And so that has everything to do with satisfaction, and it has everything to do with building up the confidence in those volunteers to do more. Think about the time that you were asked to do something within Relay. When was the first time you were asked to be on the leadership team, or you were asked to be a team captain? Who asked you, and how did they ask you? How did they capture your attention, and how did they draw you in to motivate you to take the next steps? So that's how this all works together, is we're talking about the trifecta of satisfaction because it's a critical component in retaining people, but it's also a critical component in you being able to educate others to bring them on board in recruitment and feeling comfortable in doing so. So let's do a little bit further look into mastery first. Mastery, again, is the demonstration of high level of achievement. So kudos to all of you who are on this particular conference, because chances are you've already demonstrated levels of achievement. Now it's just drawing those levels of achievement out of the other people within your community. And the most important part, and the theme that you're going to see through all of this, is recognition. If you don't currently have a recognition plan in play for your relay, I encourage you to put all of your efforts there. We can talk about fundraising all day long. We can, beat each other until we're black and blue over fundraising. But if we're not feeling all of this satisfaction from Relay for Life, no amount of that message is going to work. Concentrate your efforts instead on creating a fabulous, exciting opportunity and experience for the relayers in your community. So mastery, some best tips and practices that you can use is make sure that you're utilizing training. If you're on this call and you've never taken a Relay for Life training, chances are you're probably a little past due and should update your credentials a little bit if you can. You just go out to our training center, the Volunteer Training Center, and if you don't know how to find that, your staff partner surely does, and check it out. There's a wealth of opportunity out there. Relay Connect is another great opportunity just to get a handle on what other communities are doing. You're not alone in this. There's so many thousands of Relay for Lives across the country. We give you the tools to be able to connect that. So also continue your growth and development and leadership. For some of you, you've been in the same position for many, many moons, and maybe that works well, so I'm not here to tell you not to do that. But if you ever get into the situation where you're feeling burned out or you're feeling like you need a break, it's okay to take that break, and it's encouraged to explore another avenue. Maybe there's something else that you want to do, and give yourself those growth opportunities. There's a wealth of things that you can learn from Relay for Life, not just give to Relay for Life. So I encourage that. Practice and encouragement. Practice and encouragement. So I can't say enough about that. Practice what it takes. Practice these things, and then encourage those behaviors in other people. You definitely are leaders, or you wouldn't be here today. So I know you're capable of doing that. Now, how does this translate over to retention and recruitment? Some pieces that you should do, some things you should know about. Showing gratitude in unique ways. Number one on my list, my professional opinion is you need to be able to show gratitude. The old saying is that you should thank someone 4 times more than you ask from them. So even as simple as pleasantries in an email make all the difference in the world when you're communicating with other people. So when it comes to mastery, show your gratitude. Show your gratitude for their mastery when somebody steps up to the plate, and recognize them publicly. Thank them. And which next is the next bullet on here. Publicly thank your peers. Encourage others to do the same. I have an event this year that built an appreciation hub on their website. Something simple to do. It gives the opportunity to relayers across their county to go ahead and recognize somebody for something cool that they did. So it's on our website, and you click on it and you can read, who left the kudo basically on the kudo board. There's a picture of that individual. It takes a little customization, but it's worth it and it means so much. And then those can be shared through social media as well. Acknowledge milestones. Folks, I can't say it enough. Those milestones are there for a reason. You're talking Hope Club, Grand Club, which I think is what I have on today. All-star status. When people reach that fundraising achievement, that's a big deal. So make it a big deal. That is mastery at its finest. Not everyone gets to be a Grand Club member. Everyone tries, but not everyone gets to. And so by putting that highlight on those people, you not only encourage and excite the mastery in them, but you also encourage others to provide that same level of mastery. So celebrate milestones. Find ways to be able to celebrate it, whether it's, little gifts and things that you can inexpensively do. It's public thank you. A lot of people like the public thank you, so feel free to use social engagement and things like that to improve how you're acknowledging people for those milestones. And then properly steward and thank, and then my little picture is cutting it off, but your donors. Lead by example because you are the masters within your relay. Celebrate your sponsors. Find unique ways and opportunities to thank them and demonstrate that mastery and how you do that to the rest of your teams so that those team captains feel good about demonstrating that out in the community as well. Sponsors are a critical component of this, but if all we ever do is ask them for money and give them a simple thank you, it's probably not quite enough. Get with your staff partner if you need more details of how you can properly steward those sponsors and those big relationships, because there are a lot of new tools digitally that are available for that type of behavior. So when it comes to mastery, it's all about the demonstration, but it's also about the ability to demonstrate everything that you know as a master of Relay for Life. So encourage that in your other people. Let's move on to our next step. So the next step, of course, was autonomy, ownership, empowerment. We talk about it all the time. This one is super important for those of you who are in an event leadership position or a team captain position to assess your own leadership qualities. What are some of the things that you feel really confident about? And don't be afraid to ask for support if you know that there's an area that you may need help with. And I can't stress enough that there's times to flex those leadership styles. Certainly no one in a volunteer role wants to be told what to do or demanded, their time demanded. Instead, it's conversational. It's relationship building. Encourage and ask questions. And by all means, set expectations. I have the privilege of working with some really confident event leads who do that every month. Their monthly ELT meetings may look as simple as, what have you done the last 30 days? What are you doing the next 30 days? And what do you need help with? That level of expectation already sets the precedence for empowerment, that those people are going to activate and do what they're supposed to do, or what they've signed on to do, I should say. I should never say supposed to, but what they've signed on and committed to. So don't be afraid to set expectations. Again, on a bended knee and with a sweet heart, always lead with your heart first, and assess often. So if there's assessments that need to be done, or you're falling short in one area or another, or someone within your team is falling short on a commitment that they made, don't be afraid to assess and circle back to that. It sounds different when you come back and say, hey, I just wanted to check in on this. I haven't heard from you in a while. How are things going? Anything I can help with? Versus, how come this didn't get done, when you meet up with that person again and find out it's not done. So assess often and don't be afraid to gently remind. Those types of things are going to set the stage for empowerment within your community, and hopefully your staff partner is empowering you all of the time to lead and to do everything that you need to do to be successful. Same thing goes for you translating into your community. So empowering other people, you can even empower up. It might be a situation where you're a Luminaria lead and maybe your event lead needs a little empowerment or a little push from you. Keep an open dialogue. So how this goes to retention and recruitment, keeping that open dialogue, remaining approachable, these build a feeling of satisfaction in people, and they want to stay with the program. At that point, there's no reason to leave. We've given them no reason to leave. Keeping things exciting and keeping things empowered gives them a platform and a reason to stay. Identify community members in your community, as far as recruitment is concerned, who exemplify the qualities that you're looking for. If you know that someone in town would make an excellent addition to your event leadership team because they're super creative on social media, you've seen what they've been able to do, maybe they're doing it for another organization, don't be afraid to reach out to them and just say, I've recognized in you that you have this powerful strength, and Relay for Life could sure use your attention. Is this something that you'd be willing to entertain? It is important and critical that each one of you take that ownership and responsibility in your community to recruit. Recruitment doesn't happen on its own. And so these are just little tips and tools and things to be able to tie satisfaction back into recruitment and how we retain people that we're already with. Properly and publicly thank people. Oh, again, we can just run that one into the ground. Definitely be more about the recognition than about the asks, and follow up and lead by example. You will inspire so many more people with your energy, your enthusiasm, and your commitment to get jobs done and boast about the things that you've got done. You will naturally empower people to want to stay, to want to engage, to want to do more. And what a great feeling when somebody comes to you and says, what else can I do? That is how you build these relationships with people. Demonstrating, and then, of course, empowering. And empowerment is a big conversation for another time, and I'm sure that you've probably had that conversation. But never should it be a puppeteer situation where you're having somebody take on specific tasks. Let's get the vision rolling in them and give them the opportunity and the autonomy to go ahead and own that portion of your Relay for Life. So that's a little bit about autonomy, and moving on to connection. Connection is one that I feel like is a no-brainer here. And that is because we are all connected to cancer in some way. We all have that connection. But we need to also demonstrate the consistency of how we talk about the connection. And I have caught myself many times as a staff partner, even going weeks at a time, just going through the motions and getting the job done and everything I need to do without really stopping to think about my own personal connection and passion for what I am doing. And it happens in meetings, unfortunately, sometimes too. We get so busy in the, checklist of things that need to be done that we kind of lose ourselves a little bit in the connectivity and the importance of what we're doing. And those personal relationships are so important. So demonstrate consistency in messaging. If you already are not implementing mission moments into nearly everything that you do, from meetings to social media engagement to updating your website, I encourage you to make sure that you're doing that now. The more we see it and the more we hear uplifting stories, the more we remember in this busy, crazy world, the more we remember how important it is to stay connected to our passion. So make sure your conversations are mission forward. Encourage relationship building within the event leadership team. I have gone into a couple of events where people don't know each other, but they've been relaying together for 10 years, so that can get a little scary. Encourage your people to become a Relay family. Relay families are stronger when we're all working together. So key drivers for retention and recruitment: that consistency and clarity. We have tools and resources available. You don't have to recreate anything. If your staff partner has not shared with you, I would encourage you to ask them about a resource roundup. Every month we are given a resource roundup to help us with digital information to put on social media, some mission information to share at meetings, and giving that to your mission lead to empower them to do something with it, or to your social media lead, or to yourself to bring it up at a meeting, keeps the conversation going and keeps us understanding the benefit to the American Cancer Society. And then give opportunities to people to share. We oftentimes will hear a story, and in that moment, it feels like The world is right, and this is your purpose, and this is your connection, and this is what you're supposed to be doing. But then that tapers off a little bit. And it's hard to keep the energy and the excitement rolling, especially when we're in rough times like we were in 2020. But it's critical, that's that word again, it's critical to our growth and development, to retaining people, to recruiting people, that they see that high level of energy, excitement, understanding, and sharing. Super important. Keep your meetings engaging and exciting. If it feels like a snooze fest, people are not going to attend your meetings. And it's hard enough right now with everybody having to do virtual meetings. It is tough. Sometimes it seems like in life, when we have a meeting and it's at 6 p.m. on this Monday night, we know we have to be at this building, at this location. We know that and we go. But isn't it ironic that now that all we have to do is put our slippers on and turn on a computer and join that same meeting, we forget. Not everyone lives by a calendar, so make sure that they know when meetings are, make them engaging, make them exciting, bounce ideas off of your staff partner if you'd like to for some cool interactive things that you can do at the beginning of the meeting, give away prizes if that's what it takes, anything possible to excite and engage, and use the 80-20 rule, which still is very relevant today for those that have been around for more than 5 years or so. 80-20 is that 80% of your meeting is about the mission. It's about fundraising. It's about building the relationships. It's about excitement. It's about learning. 20% of that meeting is about all the logistical stuff. Where do I get Luminaria bags? Where am I going to pick up my candles? How do I get sponsorship forms? Leave that 20% and use the tools like your website and things like that to engage people that way. But use 80% of that time just to build relationships, purpose, personal connection, and it's important. And then reach out outside of digital. I'm going to say that louder for the people in the back. Say it this way. Email is not the only thing. We have become so reliant on email that we think it's the easiest way to communicate. And it is. And I do a lot of it. If there's a staff partner in the state of Michigan that sends emails, it's me. So those of you that work with me, I understand I'm bombarding you sometimes. The problem with that is if your inbox looks anything like mine, not my work one, I keep that clean, but my personal email box, I think has 2,300 unread messages. Sometimes those things just get overlooked. It's natural. We're busy. We might see it's there in one moment and think we're going to read it and go back to it and never do. So pick up the phone, talk with people. When it's safe to engage again, set up a coffee meeting. Take the time to meet somebody, even if it's for a moment, even if you have to find a reason to meet them in a parking lot and connect with them for 5 minutes. It is important to retaining and recruitment. So let's get off this slideshow for a little bit, and we're going to stop talking about the trifecta of satisfaction for just a moment and talk a little bit more about recruitment, because that is an important piece of Relay for Life. The bottom line in Relay for Life is we have a huge priority ahead of us to make sure that our Relay for Life program is sound. And so many of you have said that you're seeing numbers go down. So we get that, we understand that. It's a question now of what are we going to do about it. So the next step is to talk about that. So when faced with the question of how to get more teams, more sponsors, more participants, more walkers, more, I am going to be brutally honest and say more asks. At the end of the day, that is what makes the difference. You feeling satisfied, empowered, excited, and engaged enough to make those asks, that's where we may need a little help. So that's why this is so important and it all ties together. The fact of the matter is that if people in your community and your relay are not inviting others to the table, we're not going to grow and develop our event. And we don't always have to be in growth mode, right? But I think we can all agree across the state, we're not in growth mode. Right now, we're seeing declines, pretty heavy, pretty consistent. You're not alone if that's you and your event. But what makes the difference is energy. It always is. Think about it this way. What makes the difference between a refrigerator magnet and a magnet of the same size that's used in an MRI machine? Do you know what the difference between those two magnets would be? And let's say they're the same size. They're of equal size. But why is the MRI magnet so much stronger than the refrigerator magnet? The answer is it's the level of vibration. So when you are here rolling along the Relay Express, you're not likely to attract other people to Relay for Life. But when you're resonating up here at a high level, and you're excited and you're engaged and you're satisfied and you are just all in, that feeling we get when we get an inspirational story and we're like, yes, I can do this. If you're not vibrating there on a consistent level, chances are you're not going to recruit. Chances are pretty good you're probably not even going to ask. So there's a lot of tips and tools that I can provide to you. I can give you a recruitment wheel so that you can sit down and document, which areas of your community need to be asked and who you're going to ask. And you can develop a plan and say, these are the people I'm going to reach out to this week, or let's work as a committee and you take this chunk and you take this chunk and here's some materials. Let's go make some asks personally. Let's pick up the phone. Who knows this sponsor? You guys know all that stuff. You know the strategies that it takes to make the ask. But do you feel inspired to do it? And if the answer to that is no, then let's address it openly and honestly. And let's talk to one another about it. And let's find it. Because I believe that it can be found. I believe that you may be the person in your community that finds it and helps inspire other people. The bottom line is, in your community, there are people that still are willing to volunteer, that still are looking for purposeful connections for something that they feel passionate about. There are people out there that are willing to step up to the plate. All we have to do now is just find them. So if you tuned in today because you were expecting to walk away with a perfect concoction of a way to be able to increase the amount of people that are at your event, I hope that you understand that you are it. You are the tool, the person, the resource, the expert, the master, the empowered to do that. All it takes is a high level of energy. And sometimes it's hard. And this is a volunteer position, and we get that. But we also know how we feel when we feel that passion. And if we can keep that burning collectively as a team, you can resonate at that high level. And I'm confident that you could recruit at least one team a month if you just devoted maybe 10 to 15 minutes of your time in that month to make the ask, and then follow up with another 10 minutes of time within a week just to see how they're feeling about it and get them on board, and then invite them to the high resonating, satisfactory excitement that Relay for Life is. You can do that. And imagine if you did that every month. Could your event use 12 new teams? I think any of my events could use 12 new teams. I know the American Cancer Society would love to have 12 new teams at your Relay for Life event this year. So think about those things. Think about the trifecta of satisfaction. Live it, love it. Understand that we know this is a volunteer position and it is tough sometimes to do all of that, but we appreciate you. And we are working alongside of you to make this happen because the mission is important. The work we do saves and impacts lives. And so I can't think of anything better to do with your time. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to Saturday when we can chat a little bit more in the roundtable discussion. Please bring any of your ideas and opportunities, things that you have questions about, idea shares to that conversation, and let's make it a great 45 minutes to an hour, I think it is, conversation with all of you. All right, take care. Thank you so much.